The 2006 Ivory Coast toxic waste dump was an environmental disaster and a health crisis in Ivory Coast, which was caused by the multinational oil trading company, Trafigura. The dump affected the health of thousands and killed at least 15 people. The oil company Trafigura produced toxic waste on board a ship by refining dirty petroleum, mixing it with gasoline, and selling it as petrol. Trafigura was aware of the impact of these products and hadn't figured out how to dispose of them safely. The effect of dumping the toxic waste created headlines all across the globe, and more than 100,000 people needed medical care. In August 2006, a ship called the Probo Koala, registered in Panama, was chartered by the Singaporean-based oil and commodity Trafigura Bahir (BV). The ship offloaded its toxic waste to an Ivorian waste handling company which disposed of it at the Abidjan port. The dumping happened when Ivory Coast was recovering from its first civil war, which explains why there was still a lot of government instability in the capital of Abidjan. A company called Tommy dumped the waste material at 12 waste dumps and landfills in and around the Abidjan. These waste dumps led to the death of at least 15 people and the hospitalization of 26,000 people who had experienced poisoning symptoms. Because of the dump, a toxic gas that burned the lungs and skin and gave severe headaches, nausea, and caused vomiting blew through the city. However, Trafigura had first tried to dispose the toxic waste legally. On the 2nd of July 2006, the Probo Koala was moored in Amsterdam to discharge the slops contained in the vessel's dedicated slop tanks. A foul smell blew over the city during the offloading of the toxic waste. But because of the waste processor's high price, Trafigura decided to pump the slop back into the ship and look for another solution. Let's take a look at the local residents' descriptions of the event and its impact on their health. After many years, the victims of the dumping remain in the dark about the ongoing dangers to their health. It's still unknown what was in the toxic waste and whether the dump sites have been cleaned up. Another worry is that the waste has mixed with groundwater and could end up in the water supply of people and animals. Abidjan residents claim that they are having symptoms to this day. They still have problems with their eyes, their skin, stomachs, and many more health-related issues. One of the residents says there never was any medical follow-up, and the victims that asked for their medical expenses to be covered never received any money. When it rains, people still smell a toxic odor, despite the Ivorian government stating that all locations had been cleaned. Government officials also said that new control measures have been taken at the port to prevent any toxic waste from being imported without the right documentation. In an interview with a local news station, a resident that was living in a village next to the dumping area said, "We live right next to the dump. People can't breathe properly. Women have miscarriages at the hospital. We think it's because of the poisons, but no one believes us. Some villages want the place closed down, but this is the city's main dumping ground." Officials have blocked off a specific section of the dump with a barbed wire to stop people from just walking across. Local villagers say that some of the toxic waste is burned underneath a mountain of sand because it could not be removed. Mama Vanessa, one of the residents of this village, says she's too embarrassed to leave the house. She finds her body disgusting. The painful black spots won't go away no matter what medication she takes. It started soon after the toxic waste was dumped not far from her home. She says, "I've been told what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, but honestly, I think what doesn't kill me today will kill me eventually. I'm dying. Sometimes my nose starts bleeding, and I can't stop scratching because these toxins are in my blood. I'm so tired I can't stand it anymore." Trafigura, the company responsible for the toxic waste, provides a different description of events. As we mentioned earlier, the ship Probo Koala was chartered by the company Trafigura and transferred a toxic liquid into tankers owned by the firm company Tommy. Tommy claims that the Probo Koala had been hired to transport oil to another West African port and was returning from Europe empty. According to the company, the reason for the ship mooring in Abidjan wasn't to deliver waste from a European port, but that it was just a routine maintenance stop. On the other hand, according to Trafigura, this incident was done under the agreement that the waste products would be disposed of legally. So, Trafigura knew that the substance was waste from the routine washing of Probo Koala tanks. Trafigura admit that the untreated slops had been dumped illegally at municipal waste dumps by the company they had hired. They claimed that the stops were an alkaline mix of water, caustic soda, and gasoline, along with a very small amount of foul-smelling and toxic hydrogen sulfide. Furthermore, the company says that their tests show that slops could not cause deaths and should not affect the people of Abidjan. So they deny the suffering of the local residents as a result from a lifetime exposure to a toxic substance. A decade after the scandal, Ivorian authorities say that they've cleaned the dumping sites and taken measures to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Meanwhile, the victims still demand justice and compensation. This story is a shocking example of a corporation putting financial profits over people's lives. Thank you for watching, and until next time.